All right, official welcome to the Marathon Prep Series. On October 27th, I will be running the Marine Corps Marathon in the nation's capital, Washington, D.C. Super pumped about it. I started prep last week, didn't document it last week, just wanted to kind of get in the flow of everything and get situated. But last week marked 14 weeks out, a little less of a prep than usual. Usual marathon prep's about 16 weeks, but my coach was confident that I could get it done with my current level of fitness. Right now I'm on a 5-mile easy run. On these easy runs, I'm really just trying to enjoy them. I feel like last marathon prep, last year, they would just become super monotonous and I wasn't really enjoying the process with my easy runs or really any of the programmed runs. These 2 weeks have been great so far. I've just been staying really optimistic about the training. I'm trying to keep my heart rate below my max aerobic heart rate. So to get that, you want to take 180 minus your age. For me, that looks like 155 beats per minute. So that's what I'm trying to keep my heart rate under, so I can stay training in that zone 2 aerobic area. What this is going to do is build your aerobic threshold over time. I think of it as almost a baseline for your running. Like if you were to walk out the door and just start running, this is what you would want to run at to build up fitness. Right now, heart rate's at 140. I'm on almost 2 miles right now. So really just trying to get my aerobic zone down a little bit to where my heart rate is hovering between 130 and 140 consistently, just because that'll put me in a good spot in that aerobic range. Just wrapped up the 5-mile easy run. Super pleased with how it went, honestly. 137 beats per minute was my average heart rate, which I'm super happy about this early in a prep. The last event I did was the 50-mile ultra, so I really didn't do any speed work where my heart rate was elevated a lot. I was just training in that aerobic zone 2 range, so doing a lot of easy runs and training for that. So I'm not surprised that I can keep my heart rate down pretty low on these easy runs right now. Where it gets interesting right now is the speed work, just because, like I said, I wasn't doing a lot of that when training for the 50-miler. I had a speed day yesterday that went very well that I'll touch on later today. I'm gonna do a whole segment in this video of just kind of breaking down my training for this marathon block, so both running and strength training, recovery as well. But for now, let's go eat some food. All right, this is what I've been rocking with for breakfast. God, it looks so good. Sometimes you just gotta step back, appreciate a nice meal. Let's dissect this meal real quick. So what we got here is 3 pasture-raised eggs, some egg whites just to add protein, 2 slices of sourdough with avocado, half an avocado on those pieces of sourdough, bowl of fruit, so I just got bananas and blueberries in here, and then on top of the sourdough, sleeper move here, we got some cottage cheese. I think it's 1% fat cottage cheese, so not too much fat in it, but what this is gonna do is just add a really good source of protein. So I'm trying to get like 35 to 40 grams at minimum of protein in every meal that I eat, and stacking the eggs on top of this and eating it. All right, I had to scarf down that meal and get in my morning scripture, but I wanted to kind of kick off the beginning of this video just explaining how this marathon prep is gonna go structure-wise. Obviously, I don't know what's gonna happen, anything can happen, but coming off the 50-miler, my original plan was to take a little bit of a break. Honestly, thought I would be a lot more beat up than I was. I was able to recover from that super fast. I mean, I ran that 50-miler on Saturday, and I think I went for a run on Tuesday and felt pain-free, which is crazy, but it just goes to show treating my body right, recovery-wise, stretching-wise, been into yoga. I decided, hey, you know, I want to run another marathon. I wanted to run New York. I didn't get in. I applied for 3 or 4 charities, didn't get into any of them, unfortunately, but God has different plans. I was able to sign up for the Marine Corps Marathon. You don't need a time to qualify for that or anything. You can just sign up. So signed up for that. I've heard really good things about the race. It's ran by Marines, so it's very good structure-wise. And I have some really good buddies who are Marines, so I thought, hey man, this would be a really good way for me to kind of support those who serve me, those who give their lives for me daily. And I also have some family who are veterans. So I was like, hey, maybe God wanted me to run this one instead. And I decided that a little late. I decided that probably like 16, 15 weeks out from the actual race, which ideally you start a marathon block 16 weeks out from the race. A good buddy of mine had a coach for his last marathon. The things he was saying about his coach, I was kind of looking for a coach for this marathon, did not want to go into it alone. So hired a coach, Kat Campbell. I can't say enough good things about her so far. Just the programming, our check-in calls, like the way that she's communicating with me and just kind of explaining everything to me. As a coach myself, I just appreciate it. The first 2 weeks of this prep have been really awesome. Like the speed days, they're hard, but they're doable right now, and it's giving me some small wins and confidence leading into some bigger mileage days or some bigger effort speed days. I'm running anywhere from 5 to 6 days a week, and I'm strength training 4 days a week right now. Strength training I'm doing on my own right now. Me and my coach have an understanding that, hey, I'm a coach too, I'm a trainer. I'm perfectly fine strength training on my own and programming that on my own. The runs are all her. So what I have is some easy runs every week. 80% of my runs are easy runs. I have a speed day every week, which is just a bigger effort, faster pace, higher heart rate day, and then a long run day. The long run right now is just an easy run, but eventually that long run will be, some marathon goal paces, some tempo splits in there, whatever it may be. So strength training wise, I'm keeping it Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday right now. Wednesdays are kind of my active recovery. I like to do yoga. Today being a Wednesday, this week's a little different. I go home for a wedding this weekend. I'm not going to be able to strength train on Friday, so I'm probably going to keep it like a 30 to 45 minute strength day today. But really my strength days are consisting of just strengthening my quads, because that's a big weak point of mine, and just leg strength in general, because I've found that in some of my bigger effort speed days or longer runs or my last marathon, what really got to me was my quads. My quads cramped up so bad. It really doesn't happen that often, but when it does, I know it's just because my quads aren't as strong as I'd like them to be. It's always been a weak point of mine. So that's a huge emphasis going into this strength training programming. So I'm doing 3 full body days per week and then 1 high rocks training day. So the high rocks training day has been super fun. High rocks is kind of a functional fitness competition where you have multiple different exercises with a 1 kilometer run in between those exercises. And then the full body days, really I'm doing that. I like doing that for runners when I'm programming my athletes that I coach. I use a lot of full body days for runners just because it gives your muscles a little more time to recover than a traditional push-pull leg split. And you're able to push on certain lifts a little bit more than say, racking up a 40-mile week and having a leg day with 6 different leg exercises. That's gonna crush your legs and you're gonna have a really hard time recovering. I think that gives you a good overview of my structure right now. I'm always willing to adapt. Like this week, like I said, I had to adapt because I have a wedding. But yeah, that is what we're rocking with right now. plunges are just something I like to do for recovery during marathon prep, but also, you know, just in everyday life. It's just something that's been in my routine now that I really enjoy. Just helps me calm down. This is a place where I've been praying. I find it easier to pray in here. I'm just very relaxed, and it just sets that dopamine release that you really can't get anywhere else except for drugs that you don't want to partake in. But yeah, it's just amazing. So I'm just gonna relax in here. I'm gonna go probably 3 or 4 minutes today. Woo! It was supposed to be a lot cooler than it was. Just got home. Got a sweatshirt on because that cold plunge has my body temperature super cold right now. But what I'm about to do is work on a ton of programming and just client fulfillment stuff for my business. One thing that, you know, any coach, any online coach especially, has to have is fulfillment. So keeping up with programs, check-ins, you know, nutrition in my case. So it's just a lot of things that I got to catch up on today. Today I have a lot of time to do all of that, so I'm going to sit here for a couple hours and get some things done. Another thing I've been working on, these hats. I'm sure if you're watching this, you know, if you follow me on social, but we collabed with Boko Gear, made these super sweet endurance hats. They're really awesome. So we got all of our pre-orders out. I put out 10 pre-orders. They went out pretty quickly, within like a day. So I was super hyped to see that. So I'm gonna get out some of the pre-orders soon, and then the rest of the hats are gonna go live on Monday, August 5th. But I won't lie to you guys at all. I underestimated the amount of interest we would have. So, you know, it's a good problem to have. Feel super blessed, but I had to hit up Boko and was like, hey, we're gonna need some more hats. Luckily they were able to help me out. Yeah, just gonna bang out some of this, and then later I'll hit my strength training session. I want you guys to get value from this series, so I'm gonna kind of walk you through a couple exercises in my strength training when we get to that point. But took a quick break from work to whipski up a crock pot meal. We got steak tips in there, tri-colored peppers, a 3-pack, onions, beef broth, and some other ingredients. I use these sirloin steak tips from Trader Joe's. This is about a pound of steak tips, dark brown sugar, beef broth, Campbell's beef broth, soy sauce, and then garlic powder, and I actually used some pepper, sprinkled it on top too. Crock pot meals have been a go-to for me and my girlfriend lately. Just saves so much time. Just throw that shit in there, and then, you know, come 4 hours, this bad boy will be ready. So my lunch is looking like, I don't know, you guys probably can't see that. Let me grab the camera. Brussels sprouts, sweet potatoes, some ground turkey, obviously seasoned up. I'm gonna put some Sweet Baby Ray's on there. So if you guys aren't hip, you gotta get hip. There's only 10 calories per 2 tablespoons of this. He has so many different flavors, or this brand has so many different flavors. Sauce is a game changer, man. You gotta have a good sauce for your lunches. All right, I am on the way to the gym right now to get my strength session in. I got one arm on the wheel and one arm on the camera. Basically just risking my life for this vlog right now, especially with Charleston drivers. I'll bring you guys along basically how I structure these workouts during my marathon prep. They are full body days. Again, that just gives me a little more time for recovery for each muscle group. And then I usually do 2 main compound lifts. I go into some accessory work, and then I'll usually finish with some type of athletic movement. So I'll bring you guys along today so you can see what I'm doing, but should be a good session. I'm feeling all right today. Might keep it a little lighter because generally Wednesdays would be my day off. So I might keep it like 30 to 45 minutes-ish. But really my sessions during, you know, marathon prep, or when I have a big event that I'm training for,
My strength sessions aren't generally like an hour and a half or something that they would be like if I'm just going on a normal day.
Tonight we are having crock-pot peppered steak.
Check it out. It's hot, guys. It's hot. All right.
Olipop. Majority of the nights we have an olipop.
We're new to the camera game. We're learning. If it goes in and out of focus, it's because I'm learning. To start, last week I ran about 27.5 miles. That was my first week of prep. So after my 50 miler, leading into this marathon prep, I was just kind of holding fitness at, 20-ish miles a week, 15 to like 25, I'd say. Just kind of holding that fitness. So there's no reason to ramp up to 50-mile weeks right now. We want to take this strategically. My coach knows that. I'm super thankful and grateful to work with her. So 27.5 last week, and then this week it's probably going to be around 30 to 32. So not, like a 10% increase, maybe a little more some weeks, just because it's not a full 16-week prep. This is going to be a 14-week. So Monday I had 5 miles easy, which means you're at a zone 2 effort, you're at an aerobic state for those easy runs, meaning, like I talked about this morning, on my run, you're keeping your heart rate below 155 beats per minute. So those easy runs, I'm really just trying to keep my heart rate as low as I can, go out there and have a good time. I like to listen to no music during those ones and just kind of think creatively and get some good thoughts in. Tuesday, I had a speed day that was just a lot of fun. One of the big things my coach said is like, because during that 50 miler I just did a lot of easy runs, what I need to get is like these shorter speed days in to get my body back and inclined to doing the speed work. So I had a 10-minute warm up and then 2 10-minute threshold pace intervals with a 90-second recovery in between those 2 10-minute threshold pace. My pace that I was supposed to hold was 625 to 635 at about a 7 out of 10 effort. I held a 623 my first interval, and then like a 612, I think. Yeah, 612 my second one. So super pleased with that. Honestly, felt good too. Like I wasn't balls to the wall. I kept the effort 6 out of 10-ish. Just followed the plan, followed my coach's plan. I'm just thrilled with that, and I love how she's programming these. It wasn't a lot of miles, only like 5.7 miles. But these shorter speed days are just giving me a lot of confidence, a lot of wins going into some of these bigger mileage weeks that we're going to see down the line in prep. So that's the reasoning for those speed days and the kind of the logic behind it. Today I had another 5 miles easy, so again, below that max aerobic heart rate, just keeping the miles easy, staying in zone 2, and just building that fitness and that aerobic threshold. Tomorrow, I have something I've never had before. So, if you look at the Marine Corps Marathon elevation, it starts off with a pretty steep elevation gain and then drop. So it starts off with a pretty big hill. And then after that, it's just rolling hills. But, one thing I get almost zero of in Charleston is hill work, because if you know anything about Charleston, South Carolina, we're below sea level down here. Yeah, so there's just no hills. So the only hill that I can go to get work in is the Ravenel Bridge, which there's actually some pretty significant elevation gain on. So what this workout is, 20 minutes easy, just a warm-up run, staying in zone 2. And then I have 4 15-second hill sprints at a 9 out of 10 effort. So basically max effort, and then I walk down the hill for recovery in between those sprints. So this is like a crazy workout to me, because my last marathon just didn't have any hills. I didn't do any hill work. I live in Charleston, so I don't really get hill work in other than when I run the bridge. So these hill sprints should be very interesting. Doing stuff like this is going to be huge. And then I just have 15 minutes easy to finish. That's going to be around 4.5 miles. Friday, I have an off day, so no running on Friday. Saturday, I'm real excited for Saturday. I have a long run with some marathon goal pace intervals in there. So I have 60 minutes easy, and then I have 15 minutes at marathon goal pace, which is going to be between a 6:45 and 6:50-ish goal pace. 6:55 she put, but I'm going to try to keep it. I'm going to try to keep it around 6:45 to 6:50. I didn't want to have a time goal going into this, just because last prep I got way too wrapped up in that, and it was just kind of unhealthy. So I just want to kind of attack these workouts like I'm attacking them. I want to be all into this prep. I don't want to be all consumed, and there's a huge difference there. And then after that 15 minutes at marathon goal pace, I go into 20 minutes easy to finish off, and that's going to be around an hour and 35 minutes. So I don't know how many total miles it'll be. I'll end up around 32 miles this week, so a little bit more than a 10% increase, which is, a 10% increase is typical during a marathon prep. I'm going a little bit more than that. 2 reasons. One, I know I can handle it. My coach knows I can handle it. And it's just a shorter prep. So I started 2 weeks late, essentially. So it's just going to have to, my long runs especially, are going to have to ramp up a little bit quicker. But hope that gave you some good insight as to what my runs are looking like. Again, I'm excited to go through this whole prep because you'll get to see the evolution, and you'll get to see the mileage stack up and get higher up until race day, and then the taper and everything that goes into that. So I think that's going to kick off the vlog. I wanted to keep it short, just give you guys real insight, actually stuff that's going to be valuable and teach you what this looks like, not just film myself doing random shit throughout the day. So that's going to be it for this one. We'll see you guys next week on the vlog. Peace.